There's no part of a headache that's fun. Headaches only suck. Like in the 80s when we were watching Different Strokes, we learned that when Willis got his tonsils out, he got to eat a whole bunch of ice cream. You know, that's an upside. A lot of symptoms can have upsides like that. But headaches only suck. There's no upside. So in this video, I'm going to explain the 4 most common causes for headaches, and I'm going to help you understand what you can do to stop the suffering. Let's get at it.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
Let us know in the comments what kind of headaches you get and when those happen to you, because there can be a wide variety of causes for headaches, and we're not going to get to all those today. You know, you have like tension headaches and migraines and TMJ headaches, and so if you say to me, man, I get a blinding headache every time I play Parcheesi with more than 2 people, well, I don't really have anything for you for that. I don't know what's making that happen. You could have an alien in your head and he's punching your face from the inside. Do they still play Parcheesi? I'm also not going to cover the more obvious situations. You're like, oh man, I get a really bad headache every time I drink a bottle of tequila. I just want you to be smarter than that. Today, I just want to talk a little bit more about the most common underlying causes for the 4 most common types of headaches. And where your headache starts can be the biggest piece of information. A lot of times when a headache really starts to crank, it'll just be all over your whole head. But a lot of times if you're paying attention, you can see where does it start, and where it starts can really matter. Let's talk about sinus headaches first. Our sinuses have all these pockets in here, and there's like a lot more space. It's not just like, oh, here's our sinuses. It kind of goes up in here. There's lots of goody areas in there where creatures can get in, and bad guys and varmints, and they set up camp and they kind of make this infection. So if you're getting a lot of pressure in this sinus area, you could have a chronic sinus infection. When you get a sinus infection, you're got snot leaking all out of your face, and like, man, I really got an infection. But if you have a chronic sinus infection, you may not experience any real symptoms other than those headaches, because the infection can kind of get up in those spots and they hide behind what's called biofilm. These little varmints can make these biofilm shields that basically protect them from our immune system, and we don't have the ability to wipe them out so well. So if they've been in there for years or even decades, it can create a lot of pressure and create these sinus headaches. So one thing that you can do is you can get like a natural nasal spray like colloidal silver or something like that, and see if that creates any improvement. Because a lot of times an antibiotic or something that the doctor might give you won't be able to break through those biofilms and really wipe them out. But if you can use one of these sprays and it creates any improvement in your symptoms, well, that can be a sign that you definitely could have an issue with some type of chronic sinus infection. A lot of these sprays are not going to be enough to totally wipe it out, but if you create improvement, then that may be a sign that, hey, I need to find either like a functional medicine doctor or some type of naturopath that really understands how to wipe out those biofilms and clear that chronic sinus infection out. And that can create improvement for any sinus type headaches. Our next headache joyride is a top of the head headache. So if your headaches are starting at the top of your head, this is often caused by sugars going too high. So if you eat too many carbs and sugars at once and create a big spike in blood sugar, that can create that top of the head headache. And especially if it's liquid sugars, because liquid sugars hit our bloodstream much faster, as well as if you're just eating like processed carbs and junk carbs with sugars and such by themselves. You're not including protein with that, because protein has the ability to slow down how fast and how hard those sugars hit our system. So if you're eating a lot of junk by itself, it can really spike that really fast and create that top of the head headache. Now, don't view this as, oh, my blood sugar is just high, so I'm going to have a top of the head headache. Otherwise, every type 2 diabetic would have a top of the head headache all the time. So it doesn't appear to be a situation of just high blood sugar. Once a person starts leaning insulin resistant and they're not processing those carbs and sugars as well, it doesn't seem to create this top of the head headache as much. So it seems that a person needs to be able to process sugars effectively, and they need to be able to consume a lot at once or in a manner that makes a large sugar spike. That seems to be the problem, creating those top of the head ones. So if you can just reduce the amount of carbs and sugars you're consuming, especially liquid carbs and sugars, or always make sure that you include protein with any carbs and sugars you're consuming, then that may create an improvement with that situation for you. The next headache is a frontal headache. If it feels like your headaches are starting right in the front of your head here, that's usually caused by sugars dropping too hard too quickly. So a lot of what we just discussed about the top of the head headache will apply here. It's usually caused by someone consuming too many carbs and sugars, so they get that sugar spike, but then it's the sugar crash where they're really having trouble. A lot of people will process carbs and sugars more aggressively than others, and we call these people hypoglycemic, and basically their insulin is kind of like a bully, and it's just working overly effectively and sweeping too many carbs and sugars out of the bloodstream too quickly. So when this happens and you get that huge sugar crash, you can get a front of the head headache. Now, we'll put a link in the description below to our video about hypoglycemia and steps you can take to figure out if that's a problem for you. And it'll show you how to look at your urine pH and see if that could be an indication that your insulin may be working too powerfully, and give you some steps to improve that situation. So just check the description below this video for our link on our hypoglycemia video that'll give you some indications on steps you can take to improve that situation. So the final type of headache I want to talk about today is a back of the head or neck headache, and this can be a doozy. This is actually, when they're severe, these are the true migraines. You know, it's kind of developed over time that they call pretty much any severe headache a migraine, and so, oh, I'm really having a migraine now. But real migraines start in the back of the head and the neck, and for a lot of people they can be flat out debilitating. I can't leave the house, I need the lights off, and I'm balled up in the fetal position on my bed for 2 days. It can be a really tricky situation. So what we need to understand with back of the head and neck headaches, where they start there, is that there can be a couple different causes that are creating this, and it's important to understand and to figure out for you which is the cause. Now, it's usually a potassium issue, but that doesn't mean that I think you should supplement with potassium. There are people with specific imbalances that if they supplement with potassium, it's almost the worst thing they could do. Like, I'd punch you in the face before I'd want some of these people supplementing with potassium. It's usually an issue of the body not bringing in potassium correctly because there are digestive malfunctions. We need digestion working correctly to really bust the food apart and pull all the minerals and nutrients out of that food. And if we can't break our food down correctly, then we're not able to access the potassium that's in the food that we're eating. So if you're having any digestive symptoms, whether it's burping or bloating or acid reflux or constipation or diarrhea or indigestion or nausea, any of those things that people view as, oh, those are just common, all my friends are bloated, it's no big deal. But those are all strong signs that your digestion has something not working correctly. You're not really breaking down your food and getting all the nutrients out of the food you're eating. You're kind of wasting that food. I spent all that money on it, there goes the poop, I got nothing out of it. So if you're having those symptoms, you really want to figure out what's going wrong with digestion and take the steps that you need to improve that situation. So we have a totally free digestion course, and in the description below the video, we'll put a link to that totally free course, and it'll walk you through figuring out what aspects of digestion might not be working correctly, and if there are, then the steps that you want to take to improve those situations. So again, just supplementing with potassium can create a lot of problems for a lot of people, and I don't recommend that at all. Why not just make your body work the way that it's supposed to work and get the nutrients out of your food that you're supposed to be getting out of your food? So that's one way that you can create a back of the head or neck headache. Now, another problem that can happen is just displacement of potassium. So maybe there's plenty of potassium in the system, but it's not in the right place in or around the cells. And that can create a major back of the head, back of the neck type headache. So this occurs in what we call a catabolic imbalance. So without getting too crazy sciencey, the body is basically always in either a catabolic state or an anabolic state at the cellular level. So in the daytime, the body should be in a more catabolic state where the cells appear to be more permeable and we're better at creating energy, and we break down tissues and all those things that we should be doing during the daytime. And then in the anabolic state, the cells appear to sort of be more closed off, and we're better at sleeping, and the body is better at repairing and rebuilding tissues and all those things. So both states are appropriate, and we want the body going back and forth like it should from daytime to nighttime. That's our natural circadian rhythm. But for a lot of reasons, a person can create an imbalance where maybe they're leaning too far to one side too often. So when we see a person that's stuck on this catabolic side most of the time and they're not switching back and forth from day to night like they should, which is very common to see this, but when that happens, it appears that the cells kind of stay in their kind of open, more permeable state, so to speak, too much and too often, and it can displace potassium, so the potassium's not always in the right place, and that can create this back of the head, back of the neck type headache, and sometimes it can be severe depending on how severe your imbalance is. So to figure out if this might be causing your back of the head or back of the neck headaches, in that free digestion course that we talked about, it also teaches you how to run simple self-tests on your own biochemistry at home with simple tools you can pick up at like a pharmacy or a health food store. And when you look at those simple tests, the course walks you through how to figure out, okay, am I leaning too far on this catabolic side or do I appear to be balanced? And if you're leaning too far catabolic and you're getting those back of the head, back of the neck headaches, well, that's a strong indication that, I should probably put some work towards improving this catabolic imbalance, and then I bet you're probably going to see some improvement to those headaches as well. So you can see there's a wide variety of underlying causes for headaches. It's not just, oh, I get headaches. There's different types and there's different causes for those. So if this information was helpful to you, be sure to click the like and subscribe button because that's what helps this video be seen by more people. And I guarantee there's someone in a 1-block radius to where you are right now that is probably dealing with one of these headaches at this moment. So help other people find their answers as well. Now, if you are dealing with any of those digestive symptoms that we mentioned, be sure to go through that course and the free course below so that you can figure out what's going wrong with you. And for now, just watch our playlist on optimizing digestion to give you more insights into what may be going wrong with digestion and steps you can take to improve it. I can't wait to hear about your results.